I wanted to play professional football, and I wanted to have a team to be a part of, and I wanted to do work that I found joy in. And for me at that time, it was football. I went to Vanderbilt and played football, and also studied civil engineering, which is kind of what I thought would be my backup plan if football didn't work out. The footloose and fancy free mindset does not mesh well with the engineering mindset, by the way. So I barely made it through that process. But then, I think there is a degree of flexibility and kind of like, all right, well, I wanted to be like a star football player, right? And then I realized I just didn't have that skill set. And so I kind of had like ebb and flow and roll with the punches of like, all right, well, how can I take football to the next level? And it was through a really unique skill position as a long snapper. And that's how I was able to keep advancing. And then when I signed my first professional football contract, I thought I had like done it and mission complete, and that was going to be the end of that kind of journey as far as ebbs and flows go. But then I got released after 3 months, and then it was like, all right, well, how do we figure out the next step?
Welcome to A Life Worth Working, where we explore the soul of work and the winding spaghetti pathways that shape our lives. I'm Michelle Weiss, a writer on the future of education and work.
And I'm Dana Allen Walsh, a pastor and executive coach who walks with people through the questions of meaning and vocation. Together, we look at how detours, failures, and pivots aren't wasted. They're the very signs of growth and transformation. Today, we chat with Andrew East, a former long snapper with the Kansas City Chiefs, who learned the hard way what it means to forge a new path for yourself.
But wow, what an amazing journey he has had. And along the way to building a family with former gold medal gymnast Shawn Johnson, topping the YouTube charts and also getting a PhD in psychology for fun, Andrew now focuses as much attention as he can on raising children the way his father exemplified fatherhood for him.
Of course, it didn't start out this way for the younger version of himself, whom Andrew describes as footloose and fancy-free, rolling with the punches and going with the flow.
Andrew found his joy in football.
I signed a 3-year contract with the Kansas City Chiefs as a rookie, and they told me, Andrew, this job is yours for as long as you want it, just don't mess it up. And so I messed it up like a month into our time together in Kansas City.
What do you mean you messed it up?
I was not prepared for the different things that professional football brought with it. I maybe the easy way to describe it would be, in the NFL, there are professional football players, and then there are people who find themselves in the pros. And I was not a professional football player. I like to have different hobbies. I just enjoyed playing football. I wasn't like the Tom Brady who lived, eat, and breathed it, Mm-hmm. I just found myself in the pros, and so I did not do well when the coaches had expectations for certain things. I wasn't in a place of maturity to embrace that role.
I'm curious, because you kind of glided through it a little bit. The moment where you realized maybe, like you were so passionate about football as a young boy, and then you said there was a moment where you realized maybe you weren't good enough. And I'm wondering, like, what that realization was like and how that emerged for you.
I honestly now am grateful for those moments of when I get humbled. And coming out of high school, I was a pretty good player on my high school team, and then I was getting looked at by college teams, and I was like, I feel like I'm a pretty good player. Mm-hmm. And then I show up on the college team, and I was the worst guy there by far, And so I was like, well, I guess I can either transfer, which I almost did, to go play just at a more casual D3 school, or I could get better and work on things and see if I can find a place on this team and see if I do belong and can adopt that skill set that's necessary. And so I stuck with it. ended up being 2-time captain at Vanderbilt, and then came out of Vandy, and I was like, I was a pretty good player. I was ranked number 1 at my position. And there's a bunch of teams coming to visit us. And I was like, oh man, I'm like a hot commodity in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And then I got humbled because I thought I was going to get drafted. I didn't. And then I showed up in Kansas City and I thought I was going to play there for 15 years and I didn't. And so the first time I got released, it was like shame. And I was in tears crying, and Sean was trying to console me. And, it is a gut check moment where I think I had to look at myself in the mirror and say, do I have a realistic chance at the NFL or at college football? And if not, then I should hang it up and like just come to terms with I'm not good enough, because that's a very real possibility. And at the end of the day, that's kind of what I realized was I was marginally good enough to be in the NFL. I was never going to be, I just didn't have the skill set to be the top dog or like settled in, if you will. Mm-hmm. And so I had to look at myself in the mirror and say, okay, that being the case, can I maximize and optimize what skills I do have to play a couple games or play a couple seasons? 15 years probably isn't realistic for me anymore. So it is humbling, to answer your question. It's in some ways really painful to like have the realization of, man, I might not be good enough, but can I change some things about what I'm doing to be good enough? I don't know. Yeah, it's an awareness exercise, and it's a self-improvement exercise, I think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's also really neat that along the way you realized that there was a way to find your niche and specialize and be an amazing long snapper. I don't even know what that is, Andrew. Tell me.
I literally had my husband explain it to me this morning. I was like, Sean, break it down for me. What's a long snapper?
You have to pass it really far. Is that what you do?
It's some of it is in the name. So, punts and field goals in football. Mm-hmm. Field goal kicker goes out after every touchdown, or maybe there's like a 3-point try. And then punts are when it's like the team is changing possessions. Probably get like 8 to 12 plays a game as a long snapper, but I'm the guy who throws it between my legs to the guy who holds it for the field goals, or to the punter who holds it. So it is super specialized and rather random.
When Andrew was a college student, he met Olympic gymnast Shawn Johnson through his brother, who was at the 2012 Olympics with Shawn as a cyclist. Shawn had just retired and was trying to decide between Stanford and Vanderbilt. Andrew gave Shawn a personal tour of the campus, and the rest is history.
But that beautiful convergence of two athletes' lives also brought forward some really complicated dynamics that helped Andrew redefine what success meant to him.
I used to think, so as a 15-year-old, I was so excited to play football, one, because I loved it, but also I was like, I'm going to have my name up in the marquee lights, and I'm going to be the big deal, and I'll be the hero of the team. And through a series of comedically humbling things, such as the long snapper is not like the quarterback. He's not the all-star. He is the guy who you only hear about if he messes up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he's a guy that if not pinpoint accurate, people are disappointed in. You have to have the laces even rotated at a certain angle so that the kicker can best do his job. It's kind of like, you get kicked to the curb and you're like, okay, I'm the bottom of the barrel here, the least significant person on this team. And then I married Sean too, and I made the NFL, and I was like, oh sweet, I finally made it. I'm gonna be a big deal. But Sean, given her background and talent set, is always gonna be a bigger deal than I. And so I think there was a moment of like self-pity or disappointment or like humiliation in that. But what I have realized with success is that if the team wins, then I win. Mm. And it's not about me. And if Sean wins, then I win. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so the more I can help her stack wins and pursue her dreams and do her thing, then the more we all benefit. And that is such a more fun and meaningful path of success in the long run than just trying to prop myself up and, you know, get my name in the lights. It's like, no, my gosh, if I'm able to help someone else succeed, that's the best thing possible. So it's not about me, is how I've realigned my idea of success.
And with that realignment, Andrew did something extraordinary. He subsumed his own ego to create a novel way for fans to connect to his amazing life. In 2015, YouTube was still nascent, and the two of them began producing behind-the-scenes videos, wedding planning, red carpets, everyday life.
Well, my wife, who you all will be speaking with soon here, is an amazing athlete, a way better athlete than I'll ever be or could ever have hoped to be. But she was an Olympic gymnast and has a really wonderful fan base. And at the time in 2015, there was really nobody on YouTube who was like a mainstream celebrity, and Sean kind of came from that world. And so we just saw an opportunity to create videos that her audience would love to connect with. And like also the world of comments online was not as intuitive or commonplace then as it is now. And so it was a really fun forum for her to connect with fans. And then, you know, we would document our wedding planning process, or, hey, she just got to go to this Oscars red carpet, and people always see the fancy in pictures, but they never see the process of getting there, and like trying to fill in the behind the scenes of just, you know, don't buy into the whole glitz and glamour of it, and don't get jealous. It's kind of like the YouTube videos we'd make behind the scenes. And so that's what we started doing.
Andrew's story of creativity didn't begin with YouTube. It began with family. Storytelling was a generational inheritance. His grandfather documented everything on video. His father, too, was always behind a camera.
We have old tapes that we've now digitized of my dad learning how to walk. And then my dad, in turn, loved video editing. He filmed every single one of our games. He would show up on the sidelines of Vanderbilt football games and like be holding this old video camera because he did it all through high school and he was going to do it all through college.
In all of his stories, Andrew returns to his father, whom he describes as a deeply intentional parent.
My dad used to make us do a bunch of ridiculous things. And as a kid, we were like, what are we doing, Dad? But, you know, everything from having us become Eagle Scouts to having us run half marathons at age 13 to doing like these almost rites of passage and like initiations we'd sit in a chair in the middle of a room and have both our grandpas, some coaches, and other men who had like been a part of our lives in a substantial way. And they just sit there and talk about what it means to be a man, what it means to be responsible, what it means to be respectful. And it'd be like this whole day-long event. When
his father passed away, Andrew realized just how profoundly his father had shaped him.
You really have a new perspective when you don't know what you got until it's gone. And so when he was gone, I was like, wow, he did so many wonderful things intentionally that so positively affected me. And so I just started trying to document that and reflect on that and share that in a way that might help other people.
Today, Andrew and Sean produce hundreds of videos a year, over 700 last year alone, constantly adapting to new formats and trends. Their work has evolved into Family Made, a network of intentional, family-centered media.
It's the highest priority for us to be quality spouses and quality parents. And so as we're doing exploration on what books to read or what disciplinary styles or whatever, we get to match that with our personal experience and then also share that. And through this online forum, get even more ideas about how people are doing this or that, or like, so it's become like this really self-edifying, fun process of like building this intentional family life together. I view it as a responsibility as people look to us on, you know, we have over 10 million followers collectively, and it's like, that could be really fun. And, you know, people kind of like idolize fame and being in the public eye. But what I've seen, especially kind of through being front row seat to Sean, where she'll go out in public and grown women will be brought to tears by seeing this idol of theirs, Sean. And it's like, that's a responsibility of how are you impacting people? If we're not learning and growing and changing, we're not doing a justice to the people who are looking to us. So it's like our job partially is to curate different ideas, different products, so that we can then share insightful information and feedback to our audience who they do listen to us and they do want to hear what our perspective is. And so I view it as a responsibility more than anything to have that mindset. Yeah.
I think you've been so open in sharing some of these hard moments in your life, and I'm wondering if you think back, can you think of a shit pile moment that was, really difficult, really hard, but led to something that maybe you never anticipated?
Yeah. Again, I love this, and I love the positioning of those moments as manure, where there's so much growth on the other side, if intentionally placed or intentionally viewed. So I would say, I came out of college when signed with the Chiefs, signed like a multi-million-dollar deal, and it was 3 years, and then I got cut after 3 months and $10,000. And you're like, oh shoot, well, that didn't turn out like I thought. And you couple that with Sean was on this nationwide tour with gymnastics. She's in sold out arenas every night, 60,000 people standing on their feet, standing ovations. And oftentimes I was at home alone on the couch without a job because I just gotten released from the Chiefs. And for about 3 months, I was just like a sad guy on a couch. I was like bummed. Thought that it was over, and thought that I was useless. But then, largely through a community of people who like really stuck with me and encouraged me, friends and family who spoke encouraging words into me. After 3 months of pouting, I started to slowly assemble and construct some self-confidence, like really that felt like out of nothing. When you play football, it's so fun. You show up to family events and family holidays, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, what is it like playing with Adrian Peterson, or what is it like playing with the Kansas City Chiefs? It must be so fun. But it's great. It's also coupled by, when you get released, there's being a massive awkwardness of like, you show up to the family Thanksgiving and people are like, I don't know what to talk to you about anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it was so exciting, and now everyone knows that you got released. They don't know if they want to talk about it or not. And so all those little interactions just led me to think like, oh gosh, I don't really want to talk to anybody. I don't think, I don't have anything to do with my time. I've just felt useless and desperate. But I would say that what grew out of that manure was, I don't know, I don't want to be arrogant, but almost like an unshakable confidence that once I made it through that and realized that I can contribute more to the world than just football or just what I thought was my one thing, I was like, oh my gosh, wait, I can make it through that. And that was such a hard time, but now I have unlocked this new door of life where I realize that it's more than just about the one thing that you can talk about. It's like, well, what if I was actually not focused on people being curious towards me and my career? What if I was curious towards them? And then now I'm learning about what they're doing. And then now I'm like, oh wait, now I can match that with what my personal interests are. And then now we're going to take this idea and like build something out of it. And you're like, it shifted my perspective from self-doubt and pity to like an eager curiosity of like, oh shoot, wait, there's so much more to life. I just have to go look for it. That would be my manure pile there.
Yeah.
I love that. And also that identity with what you do and that shifting to who you are, and that sense of who you are is so much bigger than one thing that you do. And I love that sense of expansiveness and also how that translated into how you might serve, how you might help others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dana, I'm so glad that you're able to summarize what I'm trying to say so much more eloquently than me. So
No, I just feel like it's so powerful. It's like,
That's the pastor in her. I'm curious just because you have 3 little ones, right?
yes,
Yeah,
6, 4, and 2.
oh my gosh, you're busy.
gosh.
Yes.
full on. And they're probably going to be athletic, given your genes in some way, right? How will you coach them along in this process? I'm just curious, like how you'll approach fostering their love and enjoyment of different kinds of activities with also kind of the legacy that both you and Sean bring to the table. Like,
Sean and I talk about this a lot. I have a lot of thoughts on youth sports, one, and I think it's almost a representation of parenting styles in general. But you look at, so we have a 4-year-old playing flag football, and already there are coaches with laminated play cards. There are parents on the sideline talking trash to the players and the coaches, and you're like, man, people are trying to force this thing on their kids. When I think Sean and I really benefited from the era with which we grew up in sports,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't as much of a racket as it is now, where there's travel teams, there's all of this whole industry, like $1 billion industry built around youth sports, and the dream of your kid could become a professional athlete. You just have to start them young enough and have them play it young enough. Sean and I view parenting differently. We view parenting as like this wonderful treasure hunt where we have this child who inherently has all of these dreams and desires and interests. I think we're eagerly awaiting and eagerly curious to see who our kids were made to be. Even if it's not in our image, it's whatever they are interested in is just wonderfully beautiful. And it's not that we need to redirect that much. It's just we have to be curious about it and help them understand it. And in the process, we understand it. So we view it as a treasure hunt that our kids are on, and we're just trying to help them on their path and guide them and lightly, direct them in certain ways. But as far as Sean and I's background, Sean, as an Olympic gold medalist, it does feel daunting for children to live up to those shoes. It's like, hey, you come from this wonderful team who has so many wonderful wins, Olympic gold medal or piano expertise, or there's a Nobel Prize winner in our family tree. And it's like, that's actually really fun. It's like this beautiful mosaic that you can start to connect over and it almost helps them in that journey of self-discovery where it's like, oh wow, this is where I come from. And if you start to look at everything from health issues, like in my family, great grandpa, aunts and uncles and mom all have like the same knee problem. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, that runs through the family, and maybe your skill sets do too. You know what I'm saying? Like genetically, you come from this beautiful line of skills and flaws and whatever, and that can actually really be informative more than it can be a source of shame or expectations or whatever. It's like, let's help prepare our kids to use that information to allow them to learn rather than stop them in their tracks. So those are my thoughts.
Those are beautifully put. I'm going to steal the treasure hunt metaphor for my children because I think that's just like a beautiful way of helping them unlock what is in their path somewhere. Together, Andrew and Sean now reach more than 10 million followers. Andrew doesn't take that lightly. It's not just about entertainment, but also helping others.
This ethos extends to their podcast, Couple Things, where Andrew and Sean invite audiences into the most vulnerable corners of their relationship. It's not just a story of success. It's an ongoing process of becoming. A life's work that combines personal growth, intentional family building, and the willingness to share it all.
She's Dana Ellen Walsh.
And she's Michelle Weiss.
This has been another episode of A Life Worth Working.
Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends and loved ones who may be navigating their own uncertain paths.
And keep searching with us for the soul of work, because purpose isn't found in a straight line. It's forged in the twists, turns, and spaghetti pathways of our lives.